Well, here we are again. It's Christmas time, and the best time to always give, love your family, decorate, and one of the most many downfalls of this season is capitalism. Let's talk about that on this week's episode of Moving Forward Initiative. Well, Christmas time is yet again here in 2020, and I'm here to talk to you guys about one of the most interesting things that goes and plagues this entire country, and it's capitalism. Now, before I sound hypocritical about the holiday season, and before I talk about what capitalism has done wrong, I would like to say that I do appreciate this holiday because it is fun to just be with family and decorate. I love all of the festivities that goes on surrounding the holiday. But if it's one thing that I don't like about it, it's capitalism. I actually don't like capitalism at all, to be honest, to be fair. But this is one thing that I don't like about this holiday. Now, capitalism has plagued this entire country ever since its founding. If we date back into the era where slaves were picking cotton, or in some cases picking sugar from sugar canes in some regions, this is where capitalism or exploitation of people to gain a specific resource on things came into place. Now, in this day and age, slavery is abolished, of course, but now we renewed the word or the term into employee. That's what it is now. It's modern day slavery. Now, capitalism in America has really gotten out of hand. There are layers to it that literally just makes no sense, to be honest. Now, we have bankers on Wall Street that put up companies, and America, going into that, America is really a corporation. It's not really a country. It's really a corporation. So on Wall Street, let's just say any company, a list of companies a lot of them are on Wall Street. And in order to take shares from the company, you have to invest into the company's share or just the stocks per se. And this is one of the layers of capitalism. It's that we look at the corporations, we feed into corporations as saying, let me buy this product that this company is selling to me, but then this company is making more money on top of me when it comes to the shares that they hold on Wall Street. So that's one layer. Then capitalism also exploits regular working class people, like I said, modern day slavery, to do things out of their own character. You go into department stores like Macy's, Belk's, or Dillard's, any form of department store. It doesn't matter. It could be Target, to be honest. And they ask their employees to step out of their comfort zone and ask people to sign up for credit cards. This is capitalism at its weakest. It puts people back into the spending mode that you always have to consume. That's why they call it consumer. You are consuming a product. Now, this is supposed to make things circulate around, to make the economy stimulate itself. But as in my previous video, that you've seen how this year has shaped up the fact that capitalism does not work. One missing cog in this system can collapse it. And going back into what I was trying to get into, where it comes into the retail workers, asking people to sign up for a credit card to get back into debt and to already consume even more, it makes capitalism even more uglier than what it is. It really, really does. There's no other way to put it. Now, before you call me a Marxist or a communist or whatever the case may be that you want to put into things, because some people don't understand what socialism is. Socialism is, honestly, in layman's terms, where the government steps in and gives you social types of things, whether that is universal basic income or Medicare for all, any kind of list of things that sounds like it makes sense to the natural human ear. America is governed by democracy, when it's really not. It's not really democracy, it's more of a corporatocracy, to be honest. And these kinds of things that go on here are literally destroying the system as we know it. On the flip side, when it comes to the employees working regular jobs, people have now seen their powers this year. I definitely think that people would be willing to walk out on a job that is not really treating them well. People don't like to live in a life where they're being told to do this, that, and that, and live like a robot or a slave. People don't like that. I don't know who in their right mind thinks that that is okay. And the way that the cycle just keeps repeating itself when it comes to capitalism is in the jobs, you have a manager, you also have somebody that's above them, a district manager, and then you also have somebody above them, and each trickled down layer of people is giving demands and orders to make demands and make the bigger person get more money, essentially. You have the managers bossing around the employees to get more credit cards signed up, to get people back into debt, and if the employee doesn't do it, then potentially, I don't necessarily think that retail stores do it anymore, I may be wrong, but they would get fired if they don't meet a certain kind of quota for getting people to sign up for credit cards. That is a scam in its own self. It is a legitimate scam, to be honest. And this is ultimately it's damaging. It's damaging the entire country as we know it. And it's been going on for far too long, to be honest. And it doesn't have to be like this. Now, going back into what I was talking about earlier when it came to socialism. Socialism is a icky term in America right now, where you have one side of people that thinks that is a bad idea and this is not how America is ran. Okay. So, how should we correct it then? When nothing in America is working the correct way. This corporatocracy does not work right. It only benefits a 1% of people. The people who think that it does not need to be a socialist country are most likely not a part of that 1% of people. Socialism does not look good to the 1% of people in America. Capitalism does. And that is why everything is the way that it is now. And it's going to remain that way. Every single politician that goes into Washington, D.C. and tries to change something, there's always going to be a corporation behind them to give them money in order to stay afloat and keep the status quo. These kinds of things are the downfalls in America. There is no right or wrong. There's no ultimate answer to that. It makes more sense, to be honest. And if you think that socialism is bad and people will say, oh, well, look at Venezuela. Well, maybe you should do your research on what happened to Venezuela. Most of the time, the reason why things in countries fall is because of corruption. If it's one thing that history has shown us, is that corruption never really plays well. Every single working society that has tried to become bigger than its people usually ends up falling. Rome fell. It didn't take a day to fall, but it eventually fell. America has used its values just exactly to a T, just like how Rome did. It uses exactly to a T how Rome did. And look how that turned out. History always repeats itself. Nothing is new under the sun. And we will continue going on with these cycles over and over and over again until we get right. These are trying times to where you have to step back and look at the bigger picture on how do we move forward with all of this. How do we fight back against a system that only works for a small group of people? Like I said, 1%. 1% of people in an entire country. 1%. If you look around the world, there is a lot of pressures building up with the haves versus the have-nots. This entire year, we've seen mass breakouts and protests towards governments that have tried to downplay things and make a system that no longer works for them try to play in their favor yet again. As I stated in my first video, the old regime is falling apart. All of these things that we are dealing with right now, it is the catalyst of what happened before and why they didn't work. Capitalism does not work. And I'm not here to tell you that socialism works or any other form of system works. At the end of the day, people are going to do stupid things. People can be corrupt any kind of way that they feel as though. But you always have to push forward instead of going backwards and feeding into a system that doesn't work for you. And that is how we move forward, is to not feed into the systems that are plaguing our entire lives, to where we become depressed and where we go down the street and go buy a bottle of alcohol or buy a gun or buy some form of anything to keep us in a perpetual sleep. We have to do better. We have to do better. If we don't, then it will be too late, and all of these systems will get worse and worse. And the haves will have more than you could ever thought of. The have-nots will just be dust. Just air. Existing. Enslaved to a system that doesn't care about its people. About its people who keep up the system, matter of fact. The power is in you. You have to change you in order to change your reality, to change the world. The power is in you to do that. So, you have the option to either opt out of this system or opt in. Now, I know it's easier said than done. Of course, you're going to ultimately fall into capitalism, but you have to take a deeper look as into why or how do you change your perspective and your reality to how you not play into the system that is surrounding us. Are you either going to be a slave, or are you going to be a victor into what is going on right now? I hope that explains every single thing. There'll be more content like this, I promise you. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. We can always have open discussions about this, and I'll see you guys next time on Moving Forward Initiative. Thanks. Peace.